Rewind when the crowd say Hungbo.
Selecta.
Hello and welcome back to the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. It's been a while, but we're back from the Magic Rock Brewing High Performance Centre here. With myself, Matt, we've got Cozzy and Pozza going through a full lubricant change. No, not that, you filthy-minded people, but the lads are going through a full service of beer and snacks here in Birkby at the Magic Rock Tap Room, where, if you remember, you can get 10% off all online orders at www.magicrockbrewing.com if you use our code of AHTTC10. Let's hit the music.
Jepson's there, Billy in, a goal, Quishbilly Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Thank you.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted. Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Okay, how are we doing, Coz? Pause. How are we doing?
We're good. I'm glad to be back. And, yep, a lot's changed since the last pod. We have won.
And Poz, you're on the booze?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Highly recommend the Old Town Lager down at the Magic Rock. Very nice on a Sunday evening.
Yeah, that Town Lager's sold quite a lot of bars now in Huddersfield. Yesterday I was bumping into it far too many times for my liking. And yeah,
could
very,
tell
very
me
nice.
about your Radio Leeds phone.
Slurring my words, man. I made sense though, Poz, did I?
You did, mate.
I just thought Matty Lowton didn't I get a quick shower and we're listening there, yeah. Matt, I didn't mean it, mate. You were played that wrong side. Sorry, man.
Oh, we'll discuss Mr. Lowton quite soon, won't we? Right then, so Huddersfield Town 1, QPR 1. The result which still sees us in the bottom three, although we've clawed 1 point back on Cardiff. The Godfather rang in the changes. The slating of the 5-4-1 defender box system seems to have led to a change, thankfully. Town lined up in a 4-3-3, Turton back at right back, Matt Lowton shifted across to the left, Thomas Vaslik making a debut, Hog High Kasumu in the middle, and first start for Joseph Hungbo as well. And Martin Wagon central, Redoni on the left. For me, the midfield was a bit of a bad selection by Land of My Fathers. I thought you've got three midfielders there who are much happier being a 6 than an 8. So really what that meant was there was absolutely zero support to Martin Wagon in that first half. But first of all, just on the starting lineup, what did you make to it? Because obviously people are saying, well, when I say people, me, saying,
Just you, Matt.
5-4-1, defend the box, it's not going to yield anything. So, he's changed it, and I have to say fair play to changing it because it was better. But what did you think of this starting lineup when you were rolling up and you stay ready to start tucking into your snacks and pies and holding your banners up, Poz?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, it looked like change formation. To me, I thought it looked more of a... Obviously, from behind goal, things can look a bit different to the downside, but it looked to be more of a 4-1-4-1, I felt, with Hogg just sitting in behind like a midfield 4. I think you're dead right. There's more sort of 6s and 8s in that area, more holding players. But yeah, like you say, it's better than camping out, especially at home. He did look to try and maybe attack, certainly down the right-hand side with Hungbo. Played, he got forward. Caused a few problems early on, to be fair. I think first sort of 10 minutes anyway, we were on top and we were good value for where we were.
Cos, when you saw the starting lineup, you're a man who loves some attack.
Yeah,
what were your thoughts?
I thought, okay, 4-3-3, but I thought, Jesus, that midfield, High, Hogg and Kasumu, I'm afraid that when you're playing at home and you need goals and you need wins urgently, that ain't going to cut the mustard, man, I'm afraid. I was maybe a bit naively really hoping for a knocky at start. Obviously, came on later on.
8-2-10.
Yeah, I just... Jonathan Ong was dreadful at Coventry, and yeah, he's never going to... I was saying to Posman before I come here, for me, Fotheringham, he's been jumping in bed with Jonathan Ong from the start, hasn't he? I mean, obviously the rumours of the bust up and everything, and Jonathan Onk's my leader, Jonathan Onk's this, Jonathan Onk's. So to me, he seems a guy a bit undroppable at the moment, Matt. and again, he was quick to say in the pre-match presser that, you know, that he's my leader. So what does it? It doesn't send a good message out, you know, to likes of Etienne and Kamara to me, because on performances, surely he should be getting more of a start than him. But yeah, and again, I thought, oh, you're asking me about the line. Good to see a formation change, but are you just shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic? I think Kazuma's been a bit unlucky to kind of been out of it, to be fair. But yeah, that midfield three, you're not going to be really worried about getting swampy goals, are you? And so yeah, bit under. Glad he changed the formation. Bit underwhelmed with the parts in there, mate.
I think it was a lack of creativity in there as well. There's no one in there that can drive forward centrally, so they're all, you know, reasonable at getting stuck in and winning balls back. But then, you know, the passing ability is not really there. Johnny Ogg, not renowned for his passing. Scott Ayer is industrial, works hard. You know, we're looking for those balls out wide. Rudoni, Hungbo, you know, trying to get them on the ball and moving, attacking. But it would be nice to have someone that can break from central midfield as well.
Ideally,
you know,
Rudoni in the mid.
Yeah, he kind of
really
shoved him out wide, didn't he? But really, he should be playing as a 10. So he's kind of changed formation, and it's changed formation, but has it really been any more effective than what we were playing to start with?
I don't know if it was you, Matt, that mentioned it before in the other pods, but it's quite ironic today watching some of the highlights of the games, and sensational through ball from Janini Bakuna for one of the Birmingham goals at Swansea yesterday. And was it you? I can't remember a last threaded through ball from a midfield kind of eye of the needle kind of guy for a long time. That we just
Bakuna when we had
everything just shuffles sideways, doesn't it? With no one really direct that's going to try and probe in there. So yeah, I'm glad he changed it, but it's you're not really worried if you're opposition with that three, mate.
Well, Fothers did change it in the first real moment of the game. I don't really buy into the first 10 minutes we were incredible, like he was sort of.
I never said incredible, man. I just said we were a little bit better.
All right, I'm going to say.
Mate, I had a drink and I didn't think we were incredible.
Incredible might be pushing it too far. We were probably slightly better than usual.
Well, Fothers thought we were great, didn't we, until the start, but I can't really agree because we didn't really have a shot. We didn't even get in their box. So, but, you know, the first moment of the game really is Waghorn, for me, gets a blatant push in the back in midfield, which is a foul. But you play on. And Matt Loughton really doesn't deal with a high ball, and Vaslik a little slow off his line. You got to give him a little bit of leeway because, you know, he's not played for a while and he's just flown. He's probably jet lag still, isn't it, from flying?
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can put any blame on keeper.
I think
he probably never expect anything like that playing in the Champions League, would you?
No, exactly. Yeah.
He's thinking, all right, Matty Loughton, 10 years in the Premier League, he'll be able to deal with that. It would
cushioned it beautifully for him.
Matty would have quite incredible header. I mean, I have no words for it. Even after watching it back 3 or 4 times, and the worst. I mean, I did have a bit of a go with him on radio.
You had plenty of words last night.
But the worst thing was, I didn't even realise it was his error. To me, it just looked like a ball that looped over everyone, and Vasek dilly-dallied. But no, I didn't realise that because obviously we're quite far back. That south is not a great viewing point, is it? But what were he? I mean, what a start that! It absolutely sucks the life out of the place. You're just thinking at you with kind of the tension before the game. Let's start well, and that happens. It's like Jesus.
Right, Cozzy, we're back on Radio Leeds. You've had your pints. You've had a pie. So Matt Loughton. So
Matt Glennon had a go at me because he were like Vaslik, but I know I'm a bit of a Vaslik fanboy. I have to say, I loved what he did at Seville, but. Matt, you're a kind of a keeper, a kind of amateur.
Kind of a keeper, I like that. Not a keeper, Matt. You were kind of a keeper.
I don't know if that's
part
good
of me
or
thinking,
bad.
am I defending him here? But he's not expecting that to happen. So it looks like, well, why didn't you come in? But I'm thinking he's going to do it, and it's just one of those. It's very rare keeper, like, or am I just being too nice to him? What do you reckon?
From my angle, it looked like he was running through treacle a little bit, but it just looked like he was a bit unfit. He's obviously a lot quicker than I'd be to it because I'm a bit of a keeper. But
no, I'm on about Vaslik. Are you on about Loughton here?
No, Vaslik. So
Vaslik,
I thought he was slow.
right,
I thought when it came across, I just thought he was a little bit slow, and then he just carried on running into the stand pretty much.
I don't understand why we were going there.
But I don't really apportion much blame to him. It's a bad header, isn't it?
And who were that? When it's Tom Lees, who's trying to bundle it off the line when he just managed to smash it in.
Helic.
It's a classic Terry, like.
But Cozzy, you're back on Radio Leeds. Let's talk about Matt Loughton and the signing itself, because we've not really had a bit much of a conversation about it. I slated it. Well, not slated it, but I had reservations when I went on the Brady show in midweek, and I did say, you know, if you play in a back five and he's playing wing back, you know, you're going to need an oxygen tank for him to get up and down. But, you know, in a back four, I said he'd be all right. But he's shoved across to left. Josh Ruffles finding himself out of the team, which I don't think anyone would really disagree with too much. Ruffles has had a bit of a bad time. But this isn't the first time it's been done in the air either. So if you cast your mind back to last week, Gustavo Hamer's goal comes from a long ball forward, and Matt Loughton can't win the header. Hamer wins the header and then gets the second ball. That's criminal, really, for Town. And then same again this week. He's not dealt with the header. The goal against Hull in the 98th minute comes from a direct ball straight to Matt Loughton, and he loses the header. He even got beat by Elias Chair in the air, who's 5'3" during the game. And I just saw that and I was like, is he bad in the air or what's going on?
Boots, mate.
He just looks like he's struggling for fitness to me, does Matt Loughton at the minute. And that happens, doesn't it? Because if someone's not played for ages and they're thrust back in, it takes a lot, especially I know we say 33, we're older than 33, but at that age, as we know, if you've not played for ages, it takes a while, doesn't it, to cut.
You could be right, Matt, because I refuse to believe he's been as bad as we're showing. I remember that. It wasn't that long ago. The Preston Cup game, and he played obviously 45 minutes, and I thought he did. I thought all right.
He was good, yeah.
Yeah, my friend's a big Burnley fan. He was saying, great signing for you. It's really good. He's just not part of the new regime under Vincent Kompany, so it were kind of not. He thought it was a bit of a coup for us and that as well, and. Obviously, we've seen Kane Kessleden go back, and people, looking at that thinking, Jesus, would we better keeping him? But it's a bit gutting, really, to see him kind of stumbling as he is. And Poz obviously mentioned it, that they're playing him on the wrong side kind of yesterday. But do you think that's just a feedback to us? Because obviously, we see...
Fullback's fullback, though.
Yeah,
it don't make you head the ball.
No, I think again...
You still sense danger, don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
really?
How slow. And the incident I'll probably talk about later on, the chance, was it Chair that that should have been pulled back. Chair, I forgot that guy's name. Who I proper
Sinclair, mate.
But he couldn't even foul him then. With that slow one, he couldn't even foul him. Underwhelming. But like you say, how fit is he, Matt? But the trouble is, the games. What we've got now is it 5 games, 15 days, obviously including yesterday, or 14 days, isn't it? It's 13 days now, 4 games. It's worrying, isn't it? Because you look at him and thinking, what is he bringing to the party? Not a lot for us.
Well, what do you think of Turton? Because I've seen someone describe Turton's performance as outstanding, and I thought he got absolutely rinsed in the first half.
Assist, Matt. You give an assist for the goal?
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
I thought
that were a missed shot. That I don't care what anybody says.
I'm not sure actually. Watch it from the behind their goal. I'm not sure, but I thought first half he got absolutely ran ragged by Willett, but second half he played quite well. Turton, I thought. It's good to see. It's kind of good to see him back, really, isn't it?
I think you remember what you want to remember, though, Matt. If you think at the start of the season, I didn't think he were up to much, and if you think last season he were kind of coming in rather than kind of being a starter, although he was starting a few games. So I remember when he left us with the injury, thinking, obviously it would have blown, but it wasn't like the Turton of kind of peak last season. And I was getting to the B team game on Wednesday or Tuesday, and. What really impressed me, because I always think, like, if you've had a bad injury like that, you're just, like, taking it a bit easy. We're flying into tackles and, really getting stuck in it. It almost looked like... It didn't surprise me at all that he started yesterday, because obviously he came off for 45 minutes in the B team, but I'm thinking this would like a trial for Saturday. But I thought it were decent, to be honest, Matt. I think maybe being a bit harsh, and it always makes me feel uncomfortable when we got a fullback playing with his wrong foot, but I get modern game and stuff, but it's he's obviously a vital part of... the Foth's plans.
Right, so Town equalised. We'll talk about that equaliser where a nice assist from Ollie Turton, Poz. I thought you'd show some ginger solidarity there.
I'm always asked on gingers,
and
mate.
is Martin Wagon on ginger as well? I can't tell from where I sit.
I think he is.
But Town equalised through Martin Wagon, and you knew it'd be Martin Wagon after I slated him midweek and the signing, didn't I?
Let's be fair though, Martin.
But I did say he'd score.
Out,
I did say he'd score, and we draw 1-1. So I'll take some credit back on that one, but really the goal itself is really all about is it young Hungbo, isn't it? Yeah. He's it's been a while since we've had someone who picks up the ball and runs at people and has a go, and he fouled, and then he took the free kick himself, a really decent free kick. We've seen what he can do with highlights at Ross County, haven't we? Decent free kick. Goalkeeper probably should.
Free kick.
Goalkeeper probably should do a little bit.
It was a proper save for the cameras, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's fluffed it a little bit. And
he's neither caught it, obviously not caught it, but he's neither caught it or put it anywhere
I've still paused
safe.
it a lot of times today, and at the time, he went offside. But we got away with that.
Who was?
Yeah. Mind you, my lines that I'd have drawn yesterday were very...
what was that after 17 times, mate? That's
right. I still paused it a few times today, Matt, and I think I've never seen a team... There must have been 6 pairs of hands that went up. They were unanimous. It was almost like they all can't be wrong. And I mean, a goal, it's a goal.
To be fair, if I'm their keeper, though, I'm screaming at my defence as to say, why has no one followed this in? Because we've had, keepers clawed it away and 2 Town players have followed it in. If I'm the keeper, I'm getting up afterwards and saying,
not offside for me.
I
don't know if do you mean Ollie Turton's offside, Cozzy, or Wagon? Because Wagon's, it's a square ball, isn't it? It can't be. Can't really be offside.
Yeah, I thought it were Wagon that were offside with the ball.
Nah, I don't think he is. We'll disagree on that one. I thought he were just about level. We'll go with level.
Well, we need a bit of luck, so we'll have it.
The big thing that I liked about him, Matt, just to try to defend Mr. Wagon here, and it was quite interesting. I'm kind of big on body language and signs and stuff. When he scored, mate, Wagon's first thing was to come on, guys. He were waving everyone back the halfway line as if to say, 1-1 against a team that we should be hopefully beating. Get back to half. But there's guys peeling off, running towards the sidelines, and people might think you're miserable. We've scored at home, but no, he's right. It's Wagon. Come on, there's business still to do. But there were other guys peeling, running towards like the bottom tier, the Lawrence Bartley stand, and I'm just kind of thinking, no, mate. It's like I just thought it was smart. It was just kind of interesting to see that this was a guy, a proper professional, knows the job in hand was to try and win the game rather than the other people just like running off celebrating a goal. But it was.
Maybe he had something on, mate, Saturday night, no time for celebrating, you go home.
Maybe he's watching Happy Valley later, Poz.
That might be it, mate. It might be being X Factor or something we're on.
Yeah, we have to finish this podcast early because Poz wants to go home and watch Happy Valley.
Happy Valley, mate, I tell you, there's a big screen sat behind me, and if it's 9 o'clock we're still sat here, it's getting on. Just going back to Hungbo, though, mate, and your comment about not really having anyone to drive forward, I think you're spot on. I think probably the last player that we had that did that were like Van La Parra. And I know he divided opinion massively, but he used to. He worked as a Sober. He was a bit more of a knock and run type though, rather than industrial. Like trying to use a bit of skill. And he did well, mate. He kind of brought a little bit of life. And obviously, like you said, the lad who sits next to me used to work at St Mirren, and when he's lining it up, I'm like, nah, there's no chance here. And he's like, no, mate, I used to work up there, and I've seen a lot of his free kicks, and they're going to be decent. And all right, he's made the keeper make a save, which is what you've got to do from that distance. And
you
don't know what happens. And he's another one though, isn't he? He's one of these that we've brought in, and he's not played for a while.
That's what worries me, Poz. I kind of walked out of there thinking, wow, this guy has to. He's not a. This guy has to deliver for us to stay in the division. And have we got to this point where we're relying on a guy who were on loan to St Mirren and had to play Watford?
Ross County.
Yeah, Ross County. And it's like, I'm thinking, this guy's got to do something for us. And obviously, it started yesterday. Well done, for his
It's funny though, isn't it? Because the reason we let Solomon Thomas go, because he weren't ready to perform yet. We've brought in a lot of players who are good enough or not good enough, not fit enough, who haven't played for God knows how long, that can only do 45 minutes. I find it all a bit weird that, but anyway.
But what did you, just roll back slightly to Wagon, what did you think of his performance? Because I thought there were a couple of nice layoffs in there, but I thought he had a lot of lack of support.
He's a bit slow, isn't he? He's a bit slow.
I thought it was a little bit
isolated,
laborious,
but no worse or better than anybody else that's tried to play that position.
That's
what I mean. It's neither better nor worse than anybody else. And I do think if you can get somebody a little bit closer to him, he's a bit more stocky in it than Rhodes, so maybe he can hold it up a little bit more.
I think that's what with the formation, wasn't it? With you've got High, Kasumu and Hogg. Hogg's obviously the sitter, and High and Kasumu are high. Well, they have energy, don't they? And they're kind of getting everybody's face.
That's the thing, Matt. That's
when Scott High gets in your face, Cozzy, it's like being offered on by a 12-year-old boy.
I think the problem is, it's not a problem.
Bless him. We like him though.
For me, Wagon's not someone you can really bring on for the last 20 minutes looking for a win. So to me, he's got to start most of the games, which I think he will. And it's like, it looks. Yeah, he works hard. It was quite ironic last week. The fans at Coventry were saying it's yours because you're shit. I think that, but a bit harsh, really, maybe. But yeah, obviously he scored the goal. He was there in the
goal
box in the box
it?
kind of thing, which is what we were kind of told we were getting. But it's just one of those. I can't blame you for kind of being a bit shook shoulders, Matt, because when we got him, because no one knew we were coming. To be fair, we normally know who's coming at the time, and I remember just like flicking on my Instagram. I'm like, Martin Wagon. And like,
what was he doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
We've given Fothers some pelters, haven't we, in the last few weeks on the pod. Well, we've not done a podcast for the last few weeks, but we've given him since he came in, And but to be fair, we've all really hammered his substitutions, haven't we, in the past? And some of them have been really ineffectual. But the triple sub he made around the hour mark was actually a really good move, I thought, from Fotheringham, and Hoggy. We spoke about Hoggy briefly. He had an absolute Reggie.
Yeah, he was awful yesterday.
He had a bad one, which, to be honest,
you have him though,
since the World Cup, I think
we've all been there.
I think since the World Cup, Hoggy's not quite been at the levels. But you're in a position really where I think this season ideally people have been wanting to Dean Whitehead, Jonathan Hogg, make him a bit more bit part if you like, but we miss when he's not there. We miss his leadership, but when he's there, he can't do the things he could a couple of years ago. And it's kind of you're in a tricky spot, aren't you? But when he's on it, he's still got it, hasn't he? He still looks good. But it's when he's not.
I mean, to be fair, yesterday I thought we were winning. I think I put a message in our internal communication group, as we like to call it, and I thought he'd get sent off because he just seemed really angry. There were an incident right at the start. I think Waghorn took a bit of an elbow, I think it was.
Got elbowed,
and Hoggy were raging, and I thought you could just see that they were really, really up for it. Yeah. And you're thinking when Jonathan Hoggy's up for it, it can lead to
maybe it's
kind of the game that he has, because sometimes he's almost trying too hard.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
But yeah, it were poor yesterday. And I think we looked better when it came off, to be fair.
And Scott I came off as well. And to be fair, Scott I was probably, I know it's a really low bar, but he was probably the best of the three, I think, in some ways. And because Kasumu did well actually after those two had gone off. Kasumu came into the game and did all right, didn't he?
Like when he gets in the box, you don't have a clue, does he? I mean, at the end, it's like, what would he doing? He builds the boxes like four, and you thought just lay it off, and he just.
That's not his game, though, is it?
And he didn't. He just ran into a leg in the end.
To be fair, Jordan Rhodes should score there.
He should.
A good save, I thought. To be fair, for the keeper, it was a smart save.
Good save, but you've got to give credit. And Anthony Knockout came on, and I think what was it?
When Knockout came on, I thought Lionel Messi were coming on with reaction from fans.
But the thing is that I thought the fans were really good throughout the game. I thought they really
just
got
after
behind.
that, mate. For that sort of 10-15 minutes, everybody kind of came together, and it were almost like the subs inspired the fans, which is credit to Fotheringham for doing that.
We actually went on the front foot because Knockout played like a front foot, and then later Diarra came on as well. I think the only sub that I didn't really get was he brought Josh Koroma on the left, and Josh Koroma did something really nice on the left. And if you move him from the left hand side, he's useless, isn't he? And then he moved him after that to the right hand side, and then it just completely took
ball. He like that. He likes to cut inside, doesn't he, Koroma? He likes to come in and whip it.
Matt, we're getting his conch ready.
We're getting some out.
Matt, I've got a little bit of a
We're a bit cold yesterday, though.
But obviously, Thomas has gone, and last year, pretty much corners were goals half of the time. Yesterday with Radoni and them corners, it were like almost like Adam Moy back with some air. But we had so many corners. But what were going on there? What is?
Adam Moy were a decent corner taker.
No, that's what worries me. For us to last year, main weapons to score from set pieces. If that's the standard that is coming,
I think in second
we're in big
half,
trouble, aren't we?
I'm not having these anywhere near Sorba Thomas's level. Like some people were trying to make out, it's just absolute nonsense.
No, I think they were in second half. There were, I think. From as I look, the right hand side, we got 3 corners in a row. The first man, so we took a short one. And I thought, at least we've learned. I can't kick it that far. And then Diarra tried to put it in, and exactly the same thing happened. And I thought 4 corners there, where if you've got someone like Sorba Thomas playing, you've got 4 really good chances. I mean, you can't just.
He'll probably hit one of them, won't he? Thomas,
why is it like that? Because Fotheringham tells us about the best training this, and we're training this and that. Is it just one of those that a bit like when England cock up on penalties and that? It's like you can't.
But you got to remember,
the game situation.
In training we're playing against ourselves, so we probably will score a lot from corners because we're only playing against Town.
Because I kind of walked away from the game.
Maybe just float one in though. You don't have to, you see these players and they're trying to get whip on it and bend and all that.
They're the best corners if you get it right.
They are, but if you can't do it, just float one in. Keep it away from keeper. Put it about penalty spot and let carnage occur.
Keeper got it. It floated one.
Put it on the edge box and just see what happens, But yeah, if you maybe let someone else have a go or whatever. But yeah, we're just disappointed that we'd forced all them corners. Certainly, one after other in quick succession. Yet we never really built any momentum from them because they just broke down so fast.
I thought we saw maybe flashes in the last 20 of what Mark Fotheringham might want his team to look like. To be honest. Because he was talking about intensity and moving it quickly and everything that he says and that we've not seen. You kind of saw bits of it in that last sort of 20 minutes, didn't you? Because he goes on about more attacking players on the pitch, and it's the situation that he's playing against at the minute rather than what he would like to do. And when we had Diarra on there, I thought Diarra was brilliant when he came on. I thought he was great. I thought Knockout really knitted everything well together in that final third. He was the glue around it all. I thought he was really good. Knockout.
What I liked about Knockout,
Dave Artrick was.
Dave Artrick
fumbling away in the press box,
waxing lyrical.
The thing with Knockout, Matt, and again, I loved his hunger. He was yelling at the linesman. He was yelling at the players.
Oh, he were angry.
This is not a guy. Maybe you can say he's not exactly in peak fitness, but this is a guy who ain't come for a piss take. This is a guy who's come to make stuff happen, and that's music to my ears because we need someone like that.
Yeah,
to be fair, he put that little ball in. Who did he put it into? Was it Turton?
He skinned someone out wide and
he
played
just
it
like beautiful little ball.
Turton across.
But he just his movement and his smile. You just thought, what's Palmer proper?
It's like, do you know? It's like when you play five-a-side, isn't it?
I literally was just going to say. I think it was before you came. Me and Cosy said exactly the same. An old guy turns up.
An old chunky guy turns up.
Who is this guy?
And you think he's going to be crap.
Absolutely rinses you. Yeah, you're running around like an arsehole trying to catch him, and you're like,
and if the first thing he did were like charge about 20-30 yards, like a big sliding tackle, and everyone's going, that is the biggest worry in it, because he's not fit, and he's the guy to me who can't play half measures. He's just going to give everything, and I do really worry that, please don't get a muscle injury. He's him and Hungbo. I think they're our season for them two, mate. Honestly, I believe it's that.
Of them two, mate.
Huge, mate. Yeah. They can win us some games, them
Not
two.
Florian Canberry, no?
Who? No. He scored at Preston. No,
I agree.
Never to be seen again. Then
I agree, because I think the idea might be to start Hungbo and then bring Knockout on with 20-30 minutes left.
To be fair, I think Dave Hart took that, talked that up, and he said that, did Dave, on his podcast, that that's where we might have to be. But you know what? If what happened, like on Saturday, is kind of the par for the course, I think that's the problem with a lot of the fans, Matt, and I'm getting frustrated as well, because like we see this kind of roll of the dice yesterday with, half an hour to go, and people are, why did this happen at the start? But I think the problem is we've got a lot of players who aren't fit enough to start games, and this is the mess what a mess we've got ourselves into.
We did play on front foot, but whilst we were doing that, we did leave gaping holes at back as well. They had two really good chances that, on another day, as Mark Fotheringham likes to say, they go in and we lose 3-1, I think, against a better side than QPR. That happened. So we're really good to see us playing on that front foot and getting forward. During all that period, we didn't really test the keeper or create a right lot. We were up for it, and the crowd got behind it, which was great to see. But if throughout the game, playing that way, if we did that for 90 minutes, we'd be really exposed at back. And I don't think you can. You couldn't play like that for 90 minutes, because it'd end, especially against someone better than QPR as well. Because
I think that's the thing.
You just end up getting.
I think what they're trying to do is keep it tight, stay in it for 60-70 minutes, and then
which I don't mind, because a team playing down at the bottom of the league, if you don't lose,
and then see where you are.
Let's see where we are, feel them out. Can we nullify what they've got, and then last 20 minutes try and go for it?
That's what Danny Cowley used to do, though. Danny Cowley, we used to start games really crap, didn't we? First 20 minutes was so dull. But it was like a feeling out process, and you kind of like looking for the weak points. And then they'd have a game plan for 25 minutes, and then it changed.
They used to break it down, didn't they?
Break it into fours, wouldn't they? And then and then he'd talk about game changes, wouldn't he, for the last quarter?
Yeah,
of the
bring
game.
other people on and stuff like that.
And we're just going to have to put up with it, though, Matt, because I just, again, going back to that Swansea Birmingham game, God, sorry, referencing our old friends at Birmingham, but they come back from the dead. They get an amazing 2-3-3 kind of goal in injury time, and I guarantee that if that had been another time, what a point at Swansea, and they had a corner, and we'd have thrown about 2 men back. John Eustace put everyone up, and I get someone Swansea had 10 men, but they were like, we want them 3 points. And I just think yesterday, Matt, if we'd have got a goal with like quarter of an hour to go, we'd have retreated. And I really just worries me a little bit that I get like what you're saying. We kind of saw a little bit of fourth ball, what we wanted to see later on. But again, Blackpool have put the scenario. We score. We're after an hour gone. Rhodes gets a goal. We're winning 1-0. What are we going to do? Do we A, push on for a second, or B,
retreat?
Retreat. Then they get a draw and everything's a good point.
Deeper.
Was this a good point against QPR? Do you think it was disappointing?
I think we're disappointed, Matt. You know what, Matt? I said it on the radio Leeds. I knew at half time we won't win. I don't know what you were feeling. I thought we are not good enough to win this game. And I thought we could, but I didn't think we would. No, I didn't think
I know what you mean.
And like you said, the gaping holes at the back, it were a bit worrying because they missed one or two great. That's what worries me, because I'm thinking, oh my word, we're playing Burnley at the end of the month. Norwich are coming soon, and
it would have been
more quality.
There seemed to be a bit of an issue with the back four where there were a lot of holes, but it was like they've just gone from a 5 to a 4, and there just seems to be getting a bit of an adjustment period.
Ellick and all.
Ellick went off, didn't he? Pearson came on.
If Ellick's injured, that's a massive loss, isn't it? It's massive because I think he's last 1 or 2 games he's been a little bit so, but I think before that, I think
for me, if Pearson's fully fit now and we're playing 4, it's Pearson and Lees.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd have Hellick over both.
Do you think?
Yeah, I'd have Hellick over both.
I just think they've got a bit more understanding. Play together a bit longer.
Where, I know Forest, I don't want to mention them, but I have done. It's like, I don't know, maybe different, but they maybe have got guys in. They bring loads of new players in. Everyone's fitting a fiddle. They inspire them to win. It's like number of press conferences now. Yeah, but he's not playing many games. He's not playing many games. We've backed ourselves into a corner, haven't we, by just guys who've hardly played any football.
It's where we are, though. That's where we are, mate.
This is the thing. The fans are wanting these guys on the pitch, and I see.
These people have come to Huddersfield Town though because we've picked these players to come to Huddersfield Town because they're decent-ish players and they're not getting in elsewhere. And they're within our budget, so we can't go out and get someone. We can't poach anybody from anywhere because we can't afford.
Games in any of these
That's what I'm saying. These players that are coming are sort of also runs elsewhere because
Hungbo,
they're not good enough.
Wagon, no.
You know, but coming to a club like Town, 6 months, put themselves in shop window. Can they get a full time contract with us? You've said it. We knock out. They come and they're hungry. It might be short term contracts are the way to go. And then we sign them. Probably for about 15 years on ridiculous wages, because that's what we do. But
it's going to be,
it's going to be interesting to see these lads that have come in, are they playing for a move? Even if they're playing for a move somewhere else, it's going to benefit Town. So my worry is, though, like you said, they're not oven ready. They're not ready to go, are they? They're not ready to play. Which is what Fotheringham wanted. That's not what we've got.
I can't believe you went full Boris there. With
I know. I couldn't think of another word, mate. We're going through my mind if I'm going to have to say it.
Right, I think what we'll do at this stage, we'll take a bit of a break. It's Cozzy's turn at the bar, and we'll come back shortly. Right then, we're back. So, some advert that we've just had there that we have no control over and don't know what it was, so hopefully
I hope it was something nice.
Dodgy. Right, Pos, you are a representative of the Cowshed Loyal. Let's be right, you founded the Cowshed Loyal with a absolute bell end back in 2008. That's 2008,
what happened to him.
Ben, not 2014.
Yes.
So we'll move on from that because they will disagree vehemently. But the Cowshed Loyal, so the banner. Let's talk about the banner and we'll be serious for this section. There's been a lot of talks of protests, but for me, everything, or not everything, but there seemed to be a real sort of disconnect, or everything seemed disjointed. I don't mean Cowshed Loyal. I mean everybody sort of talking on social media. The protests itself were different. People wanting to target different people for different things, and everybody had a different opinion. It was either at Lee Bromby, at Fotheringham, at Hoyle, at even Phil Hodgkinson. And there was a real sort of, for me, looking at it, there seemed to be a little bit of an issue of where not everyone, but some people didn't really know what they were protesting at. They were just angry and they just want change. Which is fine, and maybe just sick of us being crap, which I think all of us are.
Yeah. Just do better.
I think essentially, people just want to head on a spike because we're not very good, and I understand that, but things like saying Phil needs to go because he's a 75% owner are misleading. Phil's resigned. He's had nothing to do with the club since Dean came back. It's the pure administrator that currently has that 75%, which Dean's still negotiating with. But Phil's resigned. People saying Lee Bromby is running the club. Lee Bromby does not run the football club. Dave Baldwin is doing that at the behest of Dean Hoyle. But the banner itself, as the Arctic Monkeys used to say, this house is an Orcus Berserkers. But yeah, the banner for me, right target, I thought, right time, message maybe wasn't the best, I'll be honest. But I think what's important to say is that it's got people talking and it started a conversation. And for me, what that means is that the message on the banner becomes less important because more people are now starting to discuss
the real issue.
Discuss the actual issues of why they're annoyed and why they're angry. I think the reason why I'm annoyed is because Huddersfield Town have been given two opportunities now in the last 5 years to really push on and grow, and we've shrunk and gone back into our own bodies, haven't we? Like the chode that we are. Like a chode in the cold.
We get so close every time, don't we? Then somehow manage to cock it up.
But, and we were in a great position in the summer to really push on, and we could have gone for the playoffs again. And those sales and the way that we've gone about recruiting after those sales have really put us in this position. People will say that they're not happy with the appointments of Danny Schofield and Mark Fotheringham, and yes, that's on Lee Bromby. If you're not happy with that, you can point your ire that direction. If you're not happy about how the club's been run, then that's pointing in. You need to have a word with Dave Baldwin. If you're not happy about the money that's been spent, then you need to have a word with Mr. Hoyle. So there's a lot of different things as to why people are annoyed. And let's be honest, I think all of us are annoyed at some level. But what this banner has done for me is it started the conversation. I think the first question really, Pos, was it a protest? Because that seems to be the thing, what people are saying, what a pathetic protest. But from listening to you guys, the idea wasn't really to actually do a classic football protest, which is, you're banging on the door and wanting someone out to, it wasn't that. It was more about conveying a message. Am I right?
Yeah, spot on, mate, there. I think, leading up to the game, there's been a lot of talk on Twitter, social media, forums of we need a protest. And I were very similar to you, and at the start of the week, sort of coming to these people who were saying, let's have a protest was, well, at what? At who? With the end game of what?
Yeah.
You're going to go down screaming, we want Dean Oil out. Yeah, the man wants out. He's literally trying to get out. So there's no point in that.
Yeah.
You can scream about, like you said, Lee Bromby making bad decisions and stuff like that. Okay, he gets sacked. What does that change in the immediate? It changes nothing because there's no transfer windows. There's no money to spend. So, what can he do? Nothing can change on that respect. You can go at Phil Hodgkinson, as he says, day to day, gone.
He's not involved.
He's not even there anymore. So for us, the message were more of it was to just maybe try and start a conversation. It weren't a protest as such. If we were going to organise a protest, it would have been done as like with the fan marches, and that kind of thing. But we didn't feel that there's a singular target to go at apart from Huddersfield Town as a whole. And the point of the banner really was A, to get people talking, and B, also just to let people know that, fans are disgruntled with the running of the club and how it's going. Don't keep putting out the sound bites that you put out. Don't keep putting out, start of the season, we sold 16,000 season tickets on the basis of the things that the fans, things that the club put out, and that's kind of never materialised. And I think it's just a case of we've kind of had enough. And I think you get a lot of noise on social media and people saying, let's do this, let's do that. And no one's really ever prepared to take the bull by the horns and do that. And as of, kind of like a focal point within the crowd, we did that, but we did it as part of us. That weren't a message for the whole Huddersfield Town fan base, because people have come back to us, well, you don't speak for me, you don't speak for us, you're your own little group, and that's fine. We never wanted that to be from everybody. We wanted that to be from our fan group. We have a lot of conversations with people at the club about various things. We help out with HTSA matters and things like that. We have representatives of the ATT, which I don't think people always appreciate. They just kind of see it as a match day thing. And we just wanted to, like I say, get that message across that this is how we feel things are going at the moment. We don't feel it's going right. We've had opportunities to, like you say, progress massively over the last 5 years. Look at the Premier League. I saw a statistic the other day from, I think it was Kieran Maguire, that we were the 9th most profitable club. What's happened from that? And then, like you say, getting a really good position, and then kind of throw it away ourselves again. And it's like, enough almost.
Stop,
you know what I mean? So basically. I know it sounds really easy, but do better. But yeah, it is a case of doing
stop
better.
Losing, you twats.
And Hoyle wants out, so he's kind of running it as probably as cheaply as he can, because he want to put any more money on, which I do understand. I get that. However, when you're running a football club and you're a fan of that club, it's a little bit different to a normal business for me. But one of the, like you say, it got a lot of people talking. They chatted about it on Radio Leeds, because I know they asked you about it, and other callers, and it seemed to go down well with, I'll say those types of fans, if you know what I mean.
To be said, that's
of course it did. And like I say, it got people talking. I think one of the most disappointing things for us is a lot of fans have focused on the quality of the banner, or the eye were too close to the sea on the banner. And Town fans are really good at deflecting away from the real issue. Do you know what I mean?
The way I look at that, though, is that people are still talking about it.
Yeah,
even if it's negative, it's seen.
What's the thing? There's no bad publicity. It's still being retweeted. It's still being talked about. They were discussing it on the BBC website. We're on the picture and stuff. So it's had that impact that it needed to have. And if it can bring more people into the conversation, then why not? If there's people out there that had no clue what was going on and have seen it and done a bit of research and looked into it, then it's had the effect that we wanted it to have. And we'll see what happens over the next few games, and we'll move from there.
Yeah, I think fans are feeling a little bit taken for granted at the minute. Like
100%.
And I'll tell you, I don't think I've told this story on the podcast before, but Huddersfield Town really pissed me off as a customer in the summer, and that was when we got to Wembley, and the area that I got in at Wembley was full of Nottingham Forest fans, which was
I remember
difficult.
I remember you saying.
And I took my wife and my was Charlie 4? Yeah, Charlie was 4 at the time, just turned 4. And the seats where we were Huddersfield Town for sale seats in the Huddersfield Town section. And they were sold by the club to Nottingham Forest fans. And there were fights breaking out. There was all sorts of abuse being thrown. There were families being abused by horrendous Forest fans. They were absolute scumbags. And I complained to the club. I complained to the ticket office. Just said, look, this has happened. Not happy about it. I wasn't really expecting much back.
Yeah, but just to let them know.
Yeah, other than, okay, we'll look into it. And I sent it to Dan. I think it was one of the ticket office. I'm not going to name anybody. I sent it to the ticket office. No response. So, all right, fair enough. Maybe it's not aimed to them. I sent it to a person on the board. No response. I sent it to supporter services. No response. And I just thought, this club doesn't give a shit about me.
Yeah.
And that was, my sort of, and I felt a bit
annoyed
at Huddersfield Town Football Club since, even if they'd have gone, well, nothing we can do about it.
Someone
sold them on. I'd have gone, all right, fair enough. But
just to acknowledge
just to
it.
not get a response, it was just, I know they might have had hundreds of emails and stuff and whatever, and that'd be fine. But yeah, no response. And I just thought that's just really poor. And it just shows that, and you just wonder whether they actually care that much about what the fans say sometimes. And maybe I'm going over the top, maybe I'm not. But I just found it really frustrating. But my 4-year-old shouldn't have to watch grown men in their 40s and 50s throwing down and fighting over the top of it, literally on the seat behind him, almost falling over the top. It shouldn't happen. And someone should care, but they didn't. Anyway, because it got quiet.
I mean, it's like I say, it's one of those things. If it's got people talking, it's had an effect, and people have said, it was rubbish, and what did it do and all that. But it's got people talking, so I'm quite sure that the club are aware that the fans are a little bit disgruntled. But to start doing things like that, it shows the level of that and the amount of people. I mean, you've only got to look at. I thought yesterday's attendance was quite good. To be fair, I thought there'd be a lot less there, but maybe that's just because we've not had a home game for God knows how long. But I know a lot of people have season tickets and don't bother going down anymore just because it's not what Huddersfield Town used to be for them, and that's a sad thing. They've become disengaged and they're not bothered. And I get that there's a process going on in regards to the sale and all that sort of stuff, but if you don't give fans updates and you don't keep them informed, people make up their own stuff, So
yeah, I mean, the takeover stuff's all NDA, non-disclosure agreements, isn't it? So
you can give updates without giving precise updates, though. You know what I mean? You can say there's a bit of interest, or we're speaking to some people, and
maybe the ATT is the place for.
Yeah,
I think the thing that annoys me, Poz, is I think sometimes the young ones get a bit of a bad press because in some of the bars that I were in before, people will say, yeah, but we've been there before in the 3rd division and I'll still go there and all this lot. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute here. What are you kind of targeting these guys? It's almost like these guys are like seen as championship status, kind of frittering away from bad decisions being made. This is after we've lost Premier League status. Obviously, we might not think we're going to be there that long, but we're on the verge of going down this way things are going. And it's like these people are just wanting to just say, look, it's poor, and I think the good thing is it did catch, like you said, the BBC thing was really interesting because it didn't just give a match report, it had a picture of the banner, and that's going nationally. So there's QPR fans are oh God, Huddersfield fans are happy, and then I'm damn sure there's a lot of other reporters throughout the country who flicking through individual reports and right. So it, like you say, it gets people talking and that as well. And part of me, thinks it's something needs to be said. I thought it was a kind of a smart banner, to be honest, Port. And my worry was that we were going to be getting, we want Bromby out, we want this out, them out, everyone out. And the worst thing was when they scored after, they get that goal after 12 minutes, I thought, wow, here we go, the switch is going to be flicked. And to be fair, 1 or 2 moments, but hardly anything really. I think it kind of went as well as it could have been hoped and that as well. And I just think sometimes, and again, I could be totally wrong, and there could be people at the club listening to this, but I sometimes think the club is a cushy number for a lot of people inside the club, and their ambition doesn't match some of the supporters' ambitions and that as well. And judging by some of the decisions that has been made kind of on and off the pitch, and I get we're not a massive club, and I get like Sheffield Wednesday, for example, 33,000.
Don't get man started on that.
Sheffield Wednesday got 33,000 against Plymouth yesterday in League One, and there's other clubs, Sunderland. We know this, but why don't we want to hang on to that championship? We want to behave like a championship club, and
we haven't behaved like a championship club since we got promoted.
To be brutally honest, mate. If we get relegated, we totally deserve it as a club.
Yeah, 100%.
We totally
We've
deserve
almost
it as a
asked
club.
for it.
We had the wake-up call under the Danny Cowley season. You know, we didn't eat it. We kind of maybe got... Well, we didn't get lucky last year. You don't get 80-odd points for being lucky, but we had an amazing season. But even then...
They were out of the blue, wasn't it?
Yeah, we lost as crown jewels, management, players and stuff.
Everything's just done on cheap. That's the problem.
We cannot say in May, if we go down that last game, Carlos knocks us down, which would be the beautiful irony for him and that as well. We cannot say we don't deserve it, because every decision we seem to have made... We do.
It's self-inflicted as well, which is the most annoying thing. If we get to 3 weeks before the season and someone comes in for Carlos and he leaves, that is massively different to how it happened. You know, like you said, Matt, we had a chance to build on that last season, and for whatever reason, the club decided not to go along with that. And it's annoying, it's frustrating, because I bought my season... Well, I'd always buy a season ticket, but you buy your season ticket on the basis of what they tell you is likely, you know, what they're wanting to do. And I think it's just been missold.
The thing is, though, this is again, I don't know if I've had too many I don't know if I've had too many dreams. You don't want to know about my dreams, but the dream, we scramble up, we stay up, we comes off Wagon's backside the last game, we stay up, playing horrible football.
Me in the crowd saying to get 2 all season.
We get taken over by a guy with new energy, new money, the fan base is reinvigorated. Maybe Fothering, I'm not so sure whether he's even the right man leads, but let's hopefully cross that bridge when we come to it. We have to stay up at all costs. I am not. Honestly, I heard someone yesterday in the pub, it's like, League One will smash it and it'd be good to regroup.
Bollocks.
No, we won't.
It'll be a totally different 11 players that play as well.
You would sell season cards in League One.
It'd be a mental take.
Honestly, it's the last thing we want to do. We have to stay up at all costs. And again, one by one, you're looking like Birmingham had a good win yesterday. Rotherham amazed. I mean, obviously we want Podding when they beat Blackburn. Incredible result. Can we beat 4 against Blackburn? I don't think so at all. But we've somehow got to stay up. I think we can come again, but the repercussions if we went down with investors, would they really want to come in second division, Matt? And Division 3, League 1. It could.
It's a totally different club in League 1 than it is to now. You know, as poor as we are, someone can come in and put a bit of money in and get us back to you know, sort of top 10. If you go down, the amount of money that comes into the club is suddenly halved, I'd imagine.
You go back to when Hoyle bought the club in 2009, and he used to just put Yorkshire Air Ambulance on the shirt.
Yeah, because nobody wanted
no money to be made from selling sponsorship.
I feel, but with Dean, it's a bad thing. I mean, I've been in stuff, he'd been getting abused and this, that, and the others, you know. But it's really sad it's kind of ended that way. A guy who's given me probably the best times of my life.
Because it could have, what's the old thing, you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. And it's almost that scenario for Hoyle, innit? You know?
No one wants that for Dino. They want him to walk away
I'd have had a statue of the man outside stadium when he did what he did.
You see, that was my worry coming in when I knew you were going to ban pods. Obviously, you didn't say what it was going to say on it, and I was... last thing I want to see was Hoyle this or Hoyle that for a guy who's, you know, is ill health and what have you. God, we'll never know.
I think like people out there who are, you know, I won't say that are sensible because everyone has their own view and everyone's entitled to it, but I think people know it's a collective responsibility is this rather than one individual, which you know, like at Everton it's the board in here, everyone's going mental, get them out. I think at Town it's probably a lot of bad decisions that have been made, and it's kind of getting to the point now where fans have kind of had enough.
Right, we're going to need to wrap this up in a sec.
Yeah, it just showed though yesterday, didn't it, that, you know, that 10 minutes when the crowd really got going, the place, I know Thorium posed it on it, rocking and this, that and the other, but it were really like powerful, wasn't it? And again, another thing, if anyone's club listening, bloody hellfire, play towards the south stand the second half. It's not an hard thing to do. Honestly, it makes so much difference because it's just science, and it's like if you see players running towards you and knock out, the crowd will get off their feet. We're playing towards a bloody end where there's got like adverts on. Honestly,
it's a proper
do everything you can to try and like give yourself the best chance to succeed. We never do, and that's just another little thing that annoys me.
I'll get a banner, I'll make a banner. Play this way second half.
Honest, I feel better.
What did Nigel Clibbins used to say? All about the 1%, didn't he? And,
it is literally that.
I used to search
what he used to search for.
His Twitter account was
the dirty git.
Right, so we're starting to get some questions in from. So thanks to everybody who's said that they missed the podcast. You know,
bless them.
Yeah, I think the reason why, I think people have sort of been saying, "Oh, where's the podcast?" And I think, to be honest, during January it's just been a little bit of self-help.
There's only so many times you can say the same thing as well, which we tended to be doing, going round and round.
For me, I've never been more depressed to be a Huddersfield Town fan than what I am at the minute. I think this season,
which is incredible given some of the situations that we've been in.
It's the worst season for me since the Wadsworth one in 2002-03, and during that Wadsworth season, I left I had a season card and I stopped going to play football on Saturday in the county league. But I don't really have that luxury anymore.
All right, no need to show off, Matt.
It's not that much of a show. Strange flex, Matthew. Strange flex. But it's So we're gonna have some questions about it. So the reason why I've stopped doing it is just because I've just found talking about it so depressing in the last month, and so we're back now. January's over. Blue Monday's gone.
Dry January's gone. We're half cut.
Dry pod January. So we're back. So that was it really. It's just there's only so many times you can say it's shit. And so many ways. But anyway, we had some nice comments on Twitter, and we've had some people sending some questions in as well. The first question really is from Dr. Doolittle, who says, good evening, I was going to send for the pod, etc, etc. What model would you like to see from new owners? Would you like to see something like in Spain with Mallorca or Sociedad, or a German one with a supervisory board underneath and a football board with the CEO, director of football, head of recruitment on it?
You know what, Matt? It's really interesting. I've been reading some good articles this week. So obviously, I've come back from Germany and Spain and stuff like that. And the fan-owned clubs, what they're kind of saying, it was all about like the Premier League, just ridiculous fees, and basically it's almost like feeder leagues now, the German and the Spanish league. But you know what? Both of the kind of the people that they interviewed, like the fans and some of the CEOs, like they won't want it any other way, and that as well. It's kind of owned by the fans and that as well. And you know, when you think about kind of how Bournemouth, it's really weird because obviously it got taken on by the Americans there, but the fans kind of saved them from going under, and then it got taken on to kind of the next level. But to me, it's just that foreign investment, Matt.
What is the investment though? Players on the pitch, the area, the way that they run the club. What is it that you want to see?
For me, I've mentioned it before, but it's kind of like the values. I know people will be laughing because, like, I know there's so many fans who'd love the Newcastle model. To be fair, they've not spent ridiculous, but just like Forest spent 200 million, aren't they? Like, you know, to try and stay in the division. But for me, it's all about kind of the stuff that it's almost like Dean Earl were the perfect owner for me, because he made me proud that he, you know, the breakfast club and you know the cycling rides and stuff like that. The tickets he gave away, you know, to the underprivileged people to get for the first Wembley against Reading and stuff. And I just want that. But then you look at Wrexham, Matt. Obviously they're big in the news at the moment and stuff. And that must be such a buzz to be on that ride at the moment.
Should we do our own?
It must be. You got. When you talk about Wrexham, you got to understand that they're at a very low level to start with. So let's see in 5 years.
Should we get someone to take a camera around and we'll do a voiceover for what's going on?
Well, if Mr. Reynolds is still down there when they're in League One and League Two, is it going to be the same? But I take your point, because I'm very similar to you. I think there was a post on down at the Mac forum, and it was kind of saying, you know, what do we want to go from here? And I'm very similar. I want Huddersfield Town to be Huddersfield Town. I don't want us to, let's try the
local club for local people.
Well, yeah, a little bit like that. But you know, like, let's do the Brentford model. Let's do the so-and-so model. Let's copy it. No, let's create his own model, and let's stick to it for a long time. We just like let's have that thing that runs through the club. Let's bring people in that can drive a Huddersfield Town ethos that works for us. We can't copy Brentford because we're not in the geographical location. You know, they can pick players that have played for Chelsea. They can pick players that have played for West Ham easily. Well, we don't have anybody around that. They can go anywhere, can't they?
They can pick players who go, I can live in London. This is great.
We have hills and not right. What else around here?
Hills and Happy Valley is what we have.
We do, mate. Yeah, keep an eye on time as well, though.
I think it really depends where you want to go with it. I mean, like, again, I'm probably sorry for swearing, but Leeds United, it's like they got up. They got, like, the signing guys for 35 million strikers, but like their fans are like, no, we want to be doing like top 6, 7, and so they're not happy with the model they've got now. They want the 49ers in, and the more money that's come from there. It's like the trouble is, you get to a stage, it's like you're thinking, honestly, I'd just like to flirt with them, you know, top half and stuff, and just have and know that when January comes around, unlike now, where to be fair, we signed 2 or 3. You're thinking, wow, this club are really ambitious and they want to have a go for it. Where you look now, we're just like plugging leaking holes with buckets.
I think quite a lot of people
that builds rather than tears everything down and sells everything after.
There's no quick fixes in football, and there is. You can go out and spend a lot of money and get up really quickly, but then foundations can soon, you know, come away. And I think Huddersfield Town out. There's a lot of people that see it as a 3 o'clock till 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever time on a Saturday, and you might have a midweek game, and everything else is It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, you see people on Twitter replying to tweets that they put out, and it's like, oh, who cares because we're bottom of the league? And actually, yeah, but it's a really good thing that's happened. There's a lot of people that work in a non-football capacity at Huddersfield Town that do really, really great things, and they're all something that we should be proud of. Unfortunately, the football does take precedence, and when the team's crap, everything's suddenly crap, if you know what I mean. And I think if we can harness them two aspects together and get a team on the pitch to be proud of and a team of staff and things that happen off the pitch to be proud of, for me, that's all I ask for. I'm not screaming to be in Premier League. I'm not screaming to get into Europe. I'm not screaming for that sort of stuff. I just want to be able to go down there every match we're thinking we've got a chance of winning today. We'll play this sort of way, and if we play that way and we lose, I'll walk away saying, all right, fair enough. You know, the breakfast, you know, just want something to get excited about.
You want people to go down as well. You want people from Huddersfield to support Huddersfield as well.
Yeah, you want to be able to walk around on your summer holiday in your town shirt because you're proud to be Huddersfield.
When you were like, when them German games, you went to the cities and you saw the colours everywhere you went. It just felt like the football club belonged to the cities.
Yeah,
and the towns,
exactly.
and it did for us when we got in the Premier League. You know, God, it used to be amazing. Like walking to the city, town, and there were all the banners. I know it was a bit cheesy when we believe, we never give and all that. But you know what I felt? Wow, this is a purpose. And you went in the bars and there were town like calendars up and flags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that people are a bit almost like ashamed to say they're Huddersfield Town, and that makes me really sad, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. What I suggested in 2017 to Mr. Chisholm, the head of HTSA, who listens to this. I was the HTSA lead at that point, and I think it was a conversation. I think it was with Jim, and there was a painting I saw that I think it's Neil Berry did of the bus and Wagner, and I was like, and it was phenomenal, and I was like, this needs to be on the side of a building. This needs to be somewhere in Huddersfield where you can do it. And I was saying you need to put things up, and an idea I had last year was to create I stole it from Man City because they've got something similar, but you can have like the back of the Kilner Bank, you can have like, it's a huge wall of nothing.
Yeah,
and you can have
just
a real
like
long sort of timeline of what we've done, and you
yeah.
can have people drawing stuff and just make it feel like you're part of something instead of just grey walls.
Even in
and
the
stuff.
town centre, like Leicester have got an amazing, I don't know if you've seen where that Jamie Fad is like this incredible mural.
Well, look at Leeds, because me and you work in
Well,
Leeds
I'm
City
gonna
Centre.
say,
You walk around bloody Leeds
yeah.
and every frigging box is painted with Leeds, and there's murals and there's stuff
Not
on
near me,
wall and new defence.
Not that I didn't
Well,
think
you know,
so.
you walk around Leeds and you know that the Leeds United exist. If you walk around Huddersfield Town Centre, you wouldn't know that. If you weren't from here, you wouldn't know that we had a football
What's
club.
annoying is I suggested this 2-3 years before for Huddersfield, and now Leeds have done it.
It looks like we're copying,
which is really
It
annoying.
just shows us what you guys have done with Cardshed Law, like in a little space of time. Some of the displays, the banners, it obviously cost and stuff, but time and effort. But put all that together and you get something really
Of course you do,
striking.
mate. You just got to infuse people,
haven't
haven't
you?
you?
Be really proud, like seeing some of them displays over the years. It's like, wow, that's my club. That they represent me, and other people have seen it like on their Instagram or on TV. It's like, that's bloody good, man. That's what you see in Germany.
Right, boys.
It's a very long answer to that question.
We do need to speed up. We need to speed up because we'll
quick
be
fire,
getting
quick
kicked out in
fire.
5 minutes.
Right,
so
Happy Valley's on.
What's coming next? A little bit of Fozzie Bingo.
Listen,
Tell me about it, Fox.
I've got scaffolding in the back.
the malted fly. And
That I'm not here to be these players' friend.
because the bit
Clarity to how we play,
that I'm supplying is a
and he's your credit to his family.
Right, guys. This week, if you scratch off your bingo cards, it's Fozzie Bingo time. We've got Listen.
Lee
We've got
Bromby,
On Another
Dave
Day.
Baldwin.
Clarity.
4 points from the first quarter of the season.
Don't get too high.
There was some very evasive questions. It seems to have gone a bit strange.
He's
with
very
this.
political at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah,
I'll
he's
ask
not
a question.
answering any
I
questions.
won't answer it at all.
Yeah.
I'll just say something else because it's
disappointed
easier.
on Friday. The only clarity.
He needs to clarify his own clarity.
You can scratch off Listen On Another Day and 4 points from the first
Best
quarter
fans
and
in the league.
training.
Best fans in the league.
Yeah.
Rocking.
Right, so let's move on to the questions you've asked us on Twitter. And we're going to keep these short, boys. I'm pointing fingers at them. Right, so Mark Harrison says, you've been invited to the next Foz press conference and you have one question. What would you ask him?
Go on, Cozzy. You first.
No, you go first, Foz.
I'll just maybe ask him what his long-term solution to this problem is, because it's all right doing the quick fixes and, you know, moving players around left, right and centre and trying different formations and stuff, but what is his long-term ethos? What is the way that he wants to play? How is he going to make that happen?
Anything, Cos, or do we move on?
Move on, mate. I'd just ask him if he gets too high, if we win on too low and we lose.
In fact, do you know what I'd ask him? How he feels when we draw. Because if you can't get too high when you win and too low when you lose, what about when you draw? How does that feel?
Maybe just in the middle.
Just in the middle.
Sorry, Mark. Bottled it, Mark. Sorry, mate.
Mr. Whittaker, Mark says, I said a few months ago that Fozzer needed to be careful or he will luse the changing room. Has he lost it?
I don't think he has.
No,
I don't think he has. I don't think you.
If anything, I think he's gained it slightly.
Yeah, and early on I thought, I know you can shout a lot of things at him, but I don't think, honestly, you can sit in that stand and think that in a team who was not playing for him. No chance.
They're just not very good.
Just not very good.
I'll be honest.
No offence any town fans.
I think from a coaching point of view, I just don't think we look very structured going forward at all. And
He's never been a first team coach, and I think it's a totally different scenario.
I don't know if it's confidence or whether it's just poor coaching. I'm not sure, but Huddersfield Town don't look great moving forward, and players don't seem to know where they need to be. And that changed when Knockout came on, but prior to that, from October onwards, we've been very poor.
It's easy. You look at his press conference and think, God, how can anyone just sit listen to? Because a lot of people beat him with that stick, but it feels like a Jekyll and Hyde character. There's no way Fotheringham can talk in these riddles to his players, and sometimes it does look like it, but I refuse to believe that. For me, I bet he's one character like in front of his press conference. There's some post-match interviews and another one on the training ground, because I'm not having that. They are playing for him. I don't know if that's good or bad really, because you're thinking, God, if he weren't playing for him, then get someone else in who we could play for and we could storm up the league.
Right, remember, fast answers. Right, on-point framing and memorabilia. Might ask them to do something with Aaron Moy if they've got it. Says, whose current responsibility is it to sack the manager and bring a new one in? If he was sacked, then Bromby also has to go by default, and therefore would we have to bring in a manager, not a coach, against the model we currently have? 3, what a mess. I'll start that. Whose current responsibility to sack the manager? Well, I think it'd be a collective effort, wouldn't it? As, Orcus maybe could sack the manager.
The Greek god.
If he was sacked, then Bromby also has to go. Do you know what Lee did say, that this managerial appointment will define a lot of things, didn't he, or something to that effect? And I think where this is probably going is if we've to sack Mark Fotheringham, which I'm not sure would be the best move today. Maybe I might feel different after Blackpool and Wigan. I think the only person that you could really appoint in that scenario who probably wouldn't take it anyway unless you give him a big whopping amount of money to stay up would be Chris Wilder. Anyone else I'm not sure would do a better job at the current moment. I'm struggling to sort of pick someone out who could do. Well, obviously you can pick out Bielsa, etc., couldn't you? But anyone
Guardiola,
relatively,
bring him in. I know what you mean. Realistically,
Pep would be all right. Kevin Keegan might come back and roll back.
It's quite funny that Brady put it pretty simple, didn't he? In the he did a brilliant write-up. I don't know if it's Championship pot. Who was it about you? Saw it this week, but. It's like we appointed a manager we appointed someone, Danny Schofield, who's never managed before, and then replaced him with someone else who's
never managed before. Yeah.
And it's like, when you put it like that, it's...
what's the point?
Yeah, but then again, you can say, Michael Carrick and...
well, they always say David Wagner, but David Wagner was Dortmund B team manager for 4 years.
He looks weird without his glasses on, doesn't he?
And no, less beard as well.
Yeah, less beard and that as well. Didn't look like one of his teams.
I don't like to talk about it because it makes me upset. Come on, move on.
Dean Smith, we might have answered this, Dean, but it says Hogg apparently starts in the team.
Dean Smith, is that the next manager? Come on.
Maybe he's looking for the job.
What happened at Norwich?
He says Hogg apparently starts in the team if fit. After yesterday's performance, can Foth honestly stand by these words? That is the worst midfield performance I've seen in a long time. He even made high look
He was dreadful
above
at Coventry
average.
As well.
Hogg is struggling, but I
like
think
you said, you take him out and
it's the leadership, isn't it, that you then, because if we take Hogg out, we look completely rudderless, don't we? In terms of
and also, do you know what? Everyone's entitled to a bad game now and again. Yeah. You can just have bad games, can't you?
If he's having a bad game at Blackpool, then maybe
that's 3 in a row then, isn't it?
I thought Fothers did the right thing in taking him off.
Yeah, he took him off, didn't he? And Hogg will have known. Hogg in daft, he knows why he's come off.
There's loads of games, Matt, and he did him and that as well. There's going to be a lot of changes, rotation, because obviously we've got a lot of creaking bodies. People's never played many games, so it doesn't surprise me on Tuesday night we get 6:45, we get that message on his phones and there's 5 changes. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Right, HTFC Dukes, this is one.
Yes, Dukes.
Thoughts on Etienne Kamara's omission from the squad? I think it's mental. I honestly do. I think there's obviously something gone on there. He's linked with Leicester at the start of the window, and all of a sudden he's found himself out of the team.
So I don't think Fotheringham will appreciate things like that. I think if you're at town, you're town, and if you're looking elsewhere, then go play in B team kind of thing.
I'm just guessing, but I'm just wondering if something's gone on to distract Etienne.
It's got to be, Matt. It's really bizarre. He would give a really curt reply, didn't he, in his presser this week and that as well. I think Johnny pushed him on it, and but he's going to have to get back in the midfield. Kind of picks itself, and he's like, "Well, hang on a minute, mate. This was someone who you were the next Patrick Vieira, wasn't he? Like
loved him,
a little time ago.
I mean, I always stick up for him. I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan of Scott High, but I always find myself sticking up for him because I find the stick he gets ridiculous beyond belief. Beyond belief. It's like almost like a hatred for him, which I find really
local guy done well, mate. Local guy done well. People don't like that.
Etienne Kamara's head and shoulders above
But
Scott
he didn't
High.
even play in that B team
So
on
much
the other day when I went. He wasn't even there. So it's like part of me thought, that means he's going to be there for Saturday, nowhere near again. So it's like, where is it?
For me, in our best midfield, Etienne Kamara starts at the end.
There's 100% the backstory with that, but whether we'll know.
For me, it'd be Hogg, Kamara, and maybe Redoni as a 3 in midfield. That'd be for me.
That's what I mean. If you've got a midfield that's absolutely smashing out of the park and backing up, the kind of selection, then fair enough. But we haven't, so it just makes it look even more odd to me.
Rugby League Anorak Andy Jagger says, is there any excuse whatsoever on the club's behalf to go through an entire transfer window knowing we desperately needed a left back and then start the next game with a right back at left back? Absolutely insane.
I agree. Ridiculous.
Well, we've got Headley back who was on the bench. Ben Jackson's an interesting one. He got injured, didn't he?
He felt like we missed out someone. Again, going back to the pre-match thing, I don't know if you saw it, but to me, Fotheringham, he was pushed on that and he was almost like, you can't always get what you want. And to me, it feels like we went for someone
and we didn't get him.
You didn't get him. That's how I read it. Definitely, he's not daft enough. So
I know that we did go for a defender that we didn't get, but he wasn't a left back, even though the club might have thought it was.
I just kind of
well, says it all, doesn't it, to be fair.
I just kind of felt he was like saying about the interview, well, hang on a minute, of course I know that, but we didn't try and get. So that's how it kind of felt. Again, I could
should have signed another keeper, that'd have helped.
Gives to me more clarity.
On another day, mate, we'd have got him.
John Broadley says, how long can they leave sacking Fotheringham to still have a chance of staying up?
You know what, Matt? After Coventry, I was well down in the dumps and that as well. And part of me, again, gets drawn into this Chico thing. But you only remember what you want to remember, don't you? Because you think of that Cardiff game and Nichols saved a penalty there. And we were great at Chico.
That was Stoke, wasn't it?
But you what, sorry?
That was Stoke, wasn't it? Or did he save another
Stoke?
one?
We saved 2, didn't he?
Yeah.
We had 2 games. I think he did as well.
But then someone tweeted someone else I saw it, and it's like, well, Chico's never managed as well, so he's almost like in the same bracket as
100% record.
And the trouble is, it's like you just wanting a reaction. It's just that. But I found it hard, kind of travelling back from Coventry, to think that Chico couldn't have done
any worse
than that as well.
Me and you couldn't have done any worse.
Because part of me thinks take the handbrake off, mate. We need, and I think Chico might do that. But then you just look, it's just a basket case of a club, and if you're getting 3 managers, this is what happens in Spain. They go down, they change coach about 4 times.
Well, we can't change manager again. I mean, I know he's not doing great, but how many managers? We're just turning. I was talking to you earlier before we started. We're turning something like Watford to have another manager every 6 months. It's just ridiculous. You can never get no continuity. It's stupid.
Your eyes, are we really getting any better though? You just realize, are these players that he's brought in, we're pinning us up, so now I'm just not so sure it's going to work out. But if we're doing it again, it's just a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Chicho, Cosy. Chicho.
Chicho.
Right. Danny Smith says, what does Foz need point-wise this coming week to realistically keep his job? They're all very similar, these.
I said 11 points before yesterday. Maybe
11 this week?
Well,
I think he means
these next 3 games.
No, I'm thinking next 3 games. One's gone now. I was thinking 11. I think in 3 wins.
Well, Blackpool and Wigan.
I think
he needs 4 points. He needs 4, doesn't he?
And then Stoke as well. You've got that coming up. But if he gets 4, you can take an
help 5 from those 3, really.
Yeah.
I think
what will really piss me off, right? If we go to Blackpool and say lose, obviously it will piss me off. And then we go to Wigan with total attacking approach because we've lost at Blackpool and then we win. It's like, no, hang on a minute. Don't be balancing these 2 games. Because he's always big on the next game, etc. But to me, the trouble is, just don't look any further than Burnley, because after that it's scary who we've got to play. So
this is a big fight.
Last 2, because we're going to get kicked out in a minute.
I know that bloke's mopping floor like there's no tomorrow.
We need a new sponsor, Magic Rock, and finishing with
Barry Bazbaza is very similar. Says, how long do you think Fotheringham has before he's sacked, and why is it not sooner? A 2-for-1 question, but I guess we'll find out at the end of this coming week. And the last one really is Love Shack 82.
Love Shack
classic. Why has Lee Bromby been singled out as the fall guy by so many?
Mate, you can't ask that question when there's like 30 seconds before we're about to get kicked out.
But then spent 2 million in the summer. Why is this not good enough for some? We're shite. We've been shite before, and we'll be shite again. Don't get the outrage.
Enough pod.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that Lee Bromby's dad?
Yeah, that's from Dave Bromby. Yeah. But I agree. I think he's made some bad choices, perhaps, but you have to factor in.
Quote Stan Turner, Matt.
You have to factor. What about the Christmas dinner?
No, beer money, champagne on beer money, mate.
I think can only piss with a cocky given, mate.
Let's leave it with Stan Turner. Let's leave it with Stan Turner.
No, just on Bromby though. Just before we go, really quickly, I do think I do think a lot of people are scared to criticise Dean Oil directly just because of the what's happened in the past. So the easiest man to go after is Bromby because he's responsible for the
But last year, the best
recruitment.
football
But
ever.
I was just going to say, last year when he brought all these free players in and stuff like that, they all did really well. So you can't laud him one season and want him sacked just because he's had some bad decisions. You can't sign players with fresh air, can you?
No.
Anyway, sorry.
We'll leave it at that.
That bloke's waving me out, so we need to go.
Yeah, we're about to get mopped out of Magic Rock. Right, thanks everybody for listening. Tune in for the preview show, and we'll be back next week.
Goodbye.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. Colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.